Good morning and welcome to the brand new Coastal Interpretive Center. We are very excited to have people come visit us after a year and a quarter of being closed for COVID, of course, but also to do a pretty major renovation here at the Interpretive Center. If you'd like to just follow me, let's go for a little walk. I am Nancy Eldridge. I'm a member of the board of the Coastal Interpretive Center, and welcome to our brand new center. I'd like to introduce our brand new director. This is Holly Duffy. Say hi, Holly.
Hello, hi.
Holly just started with us this week. She's brand new, so I'm probably going to take the lead, but I wanted Holly to be along with us and everybody to get to know Holly's face as well. So if you'd like to follow me this way, we can walk into the Children's Gallery. And while we're in here, I'd like to introduce Mary Lou Brodigan. Mary Lou and Jackie Austin, another one of our volunteers, were the leads on developing this gallery. So Mary Lou, I'm going to turn the microphone over to you, and you tell our folks exactly what you've done here in the Children's Gallery.
Okay, well, this is completely refurbished. This has been directed specifically for the education of the younger children from 2 years to 8 years old. In this area, we have a growth chart, but it's charted by animals. So are you taller than a black-tailed deer, taller than a bear? And it has everybody's heights by feet and inches. In here these are the pelts that we've always had. I just remounted them, and we are changing the story from fur or fashion. The top hat there is authentic from the 1800s, and that is made of beaver pelt. It actually takes 3 grown beavers to make one hat, and they almost diminished because of fashion. Over here is a really fun part that I just started, and we always had these great drawers that were full of specimens and bones and all kinds of things, and so now we have feathers and shells and skeletons and fossils. We also have a scientist's data sheet. We have magnifying glasses and all kinds of things, and jellyfish aquariums. This is, of course, you have to scan to get in her, and authorized personnel only. And we also have 2 lab coats and a mirror so they can reflect themselves. And these 2 pictures are reflecting the marine people that use these, that are in these wonderful jobs, to let children know that these jobs exist. Over here is one of my favorites. It's also the whale, and we were able to put in some jellyfish. We have a little shimmering light here that kind of gives you the feel of the deep sea. This is a vertebra from a humpback on the floor that the kids can stand on, look at, feel, touch. There's kind of a scary eel. Over here, this is our kelp bed. And so they can walk through that, and we have creatures that live in kelp beds as well. We have an octopus and a squid. Over here, we have, and it's kind of hard to see, these are crocheted animals, and those are kind of unique, and they're very fun, and they're what you find in the beach rocks, in the pool. There are starfish and sea anemones, and then this is a bog, and underneath these questions, there is a picture of the animal. So, for instance, here, this is mountain region. So we have some steps for the children to go up. They can hold on to this, and they lift this up, and it says it's a cougar, and there's a picture of a cougar underneath. So they can see all of the habitats that the animals live in. In here, they can crawl through. There is a picture of a baby bear, and you can get a good picture if you want to crawl down underneath and see it, but it's kind of difficult with the camera, I guess. So. And then, of course, a tree in the corner with an eagle and an owl. And then we have, and then we're kind of having fun. We're calling this, where is Sluggo? And so here is our banana slug today. It's going to be moving around every day. And that's all I can say. I want you all to come and play. I can't wait.
Okay, so hello again, back with Nancy Eldridge. This is our lounge area. It's actually going to be another gallery. We are going to create an exhibit called Coastal Rivers of the Washington Coast and give a lot of information about the ecosystems around the rivers, the forested ecosystem, and how it all works together. So this is yet to come. So stay tuned. There's always something new and exciting coming here at the Coastal Interpretive Center. As you walk this way down the hall, this is what, if those of you who have been here in the past, this was the old rock room. It is now our Earth Sciences Gallery. And so we go all the way from the entire solar system up here, where it talks about our magnificent planet Earth and where we are in the solar system. And then you move on into the Rock of Ages panel, which is by a famous artist out of Alaska whose name is Ray Troll. We're very lucky to have been given permission to use one of his graphics. This is all about the geological timeline. And then as you come this way towards the back wall, we have a lot of information about rocks and the difference between rocks and minerals, what makes up that difference. And moving then along this way, a lot of information about plate tectonics, which many of you will know we really didn't even know about until about mid-20th century. So that's pretty wonderful information. And then over on this side, we have some information about our local glaciers. So one of the glaciers that many of our local residents might be familiar with is the Anderson Glacier. And we've got some pretty good time photos of that from back starting in 1927 when the glacier was quite large, all the way up to 2015 when the glacier is now pretty much non-existent. And then the next panel over is all about ice cores. And so folks can come and learn all of the very interesting information about ice cores and what you can find out by drilling the cores and that sort of thing. This little table here has this is our weird rock table. So we do have a lot of weird rocks in this area, and so this is something that's kind of fun and lots of good information there. So, okay, hello again, Nancy Eldridge and Holly Duffy, our new director. So Holly, why don't you take the microphone and talk to these folks about the Habitat Wing?
Okay, so we're in our Habitat Wing, which is one of my favorite rooms. Actually, my new office is in the door over there, but we don't need to see that. Yeah, we have all the native animals that live in the Northwest over here. Seems like you notice something different every time you pop in.
So this diorama actually is, if you look at the animals and the habitats, it actually goes from the beach to the uplands. And so we always like to point that out to folks because it's not really obvious when you come in that that's what's going on, but it's pretty cool if you think about it.
Yeah, and we have a new exhibit over here, a new addition to this room, the goat, mountain goat. Pretty cool guy. Get a little closer at him.
So the story about the goat is that some people might think, why do we have an exhibit about a mountain goat at the Coastal Interpretive Center? Well, there is a reason. Our mission area actually spans the Olympics. We go to the top of the watersheds in the Olympics, and all of those watersheds that drain into the Pacific Ocean is part of our mission area. And so, of course, the mountain goats are not native to the Olympic Mountains, but they were introduced several decades ago. And so this exhibit is really all about why you should not introduce a species who is not a local species. And they ended up having a lot of trouble with the goats up in the Olympics. And so there was a major undertaking to actually take helicopters and fly these goats out of the mountains. And so I believe that effort is still going on. So this is our brand new mountain goat. We probably should have some sort of a contest maybe with the local elementary school students on naming the goat. We'll have to figure that one out. So.
Okay, this is another one of the interactive features in this room. It's our bird quiz, so you can come over and guess which bird's on the screen, and if you listen, there's the bird calls from each bird, which can help. So I'm going to guess that this guy is hummingbird, and I'm correct. And then it'll go to the next one. So on. I don't know what this guy is, but and we have more birds down below. We have our mallards, our ducks, and more down here too. And we have some more local ducks over here, a bunch of them actually.
And I guess the final piece really in this room, this is an existing exhibit that we've had for a long time on repositories for our watersheds. A lot of good information about our estuaries, which of course is very important to a lot of different local species. So this one we've had for a while. So much of our center is new, but this is one of our former and wonderful existing exhibits. One of our most exciting new exhibits is this one that we call Life on the Edge. As we all know, we're here on the edge of a continent, and so we wanted to graphically illustrate this. This is a beautiful image of Ruby Beach. Many people might recognize that. But this exhibit is the title of one that we're very excited about. This exhibit is all about the Olympic Coast National Marine Sanctuary. We have partnered with the sanctuary and actually got quite a nice grant to do this exhibit. So as you walk through here, we've got a lot of wonderful information over here about the National Marine Sanctuary System. So you'll see where all the different sanctuaries are in the United States. And then we've got some wonderful videos here in the corner that you can watch about the sanctuary. A lot of good information, a 3D model of our Olympic Coast National Marine Sanctuary and the limits of it, is along where those dotted lines are. Over here, we have this beautiful mural. This exhibit is not quite complete yet. We're going to have some interpretive information below the mural, but right now people can enjoy this beautiful mural with all these wonderful images. And then the 6 different habitats that are depicted here in the mural are also depicted over on our brand new lighthouse, which we'll get to in a moment, but I just wanted to pique your interest a little bit on that. So as we move over to the left here, I'm going to step in front of the camera for a moment. We come over here, and again, we're not quite complete with this exhibit yet, but on this table we'll have a microscope, so the children will be able to see from the microscope. We'll have some slides, and then what's on the slides will appear on this monitor here. And so this will be probably finished in a couple of weeks now. This image, or this structure here, is a lighthouse, which actually has wonderful sound effects and lighting effects. But there's information on each of these panels about the different habitats that are actually depicted on that beautiful mural that we just looked at over there. So this is fun with its little foghorn going. So many of our younger visitors especially will remember that we had the old Catala's ship wheel set up in the corner of our older Interpretive Center. Well, we've recreated that exhibit now into what we call the Pilot House. So this is a very fun exhibit, especially for children. They'll be able to come in, they'll be able to still drive the boat with the wheel, but now they'll be able to actually, pretend like they're crashing through the waves of the jetty, headed out to sea. So this is one of our most exciting exhibits, I think. Okay, so next up is a redo of one of our former exhibits. Here we have the Land of Quesnel. At some time in the future, we want to do get a bit grander scale on our Quesnel exhibit and get the tribe involved and actually talk with them about what they'd like to showcase about their culture and their history. But for now, we have some nice images of the Quesnels and their tribe, various things that they're doing, the canoe races, the old canoe journey back in 2013. That was a pretty big deal for the tribe. And then as you pan around over this way, we still have the diorama that we had in the past of the old-fashioned fishing weir that the Quesnel back in the 16th, 17th, 18th centuries, how they would actually do their fishing. So we have quite a bit more interpretive information now about that than we did in the past. So that's pretty nice. And then as you pan around behind over here, people will remember that we had quite a nice basket collection from the tribal folks here, and so we still have that. It's a little bit displayed a little bit nicer with some more interpretive labels on it, but that's still a pretty impressive array of our coastal native peoples and their basketry. So then as we move forward this way, we come into some of the history of ocean shores, actually. So over here we have some information about Clara Damon and Albert Olson Damon, of course, that Damon Point is now named for, and you know the lone tree, which very famous lone tree that people used to use as a navigation marker as they were coming in from the sea, and just the fact that Ocean Shores used to be just a big ranch, and until the 60s when it was purchased and then turned into this wonderful town that we now call Ocean Shores. Of course, after the ranch was no longer there and we started to develop the town, then a lot of people are going to remember from the early 70s that we used to have the old Pat Boone Celebrity Golf Classic out here, and so we have a lot of the artifacts from back in those days, the Ginny Sims information, you know, a lot about the old hotels and whatnot, and what we call the boom years of Ocean Shores, and just a little bit more information about the city and the town. And if you live here in Ocean Shores, a lot of people really enjoy looking at the plat maps and everything, so we still have that. That was one of our most popular things, believe it or not. People wanted to come and see where their house is, so there it is. And then this bell, which was part of the old military effort here during World War II, and some great information in a nice graphics panel there about the war effort here on the harbor. So now we move over to a much better display of our whale bones. I mean, we've historically had a lot of wonderful artifacts and in our collections, but we didn't really have a lot of interpretive information. We still have more to come. There's still more information that we're going to include here, but for now, it still gives a lot better representation of what some of the Pacific Northwest whales, dolphins, and porpoises look like out here in Ocean Shores.
And this is our shipwreck relics case. So we have some transom windows from the Katala, a little bit more information about the Katala up here, and we have some of the dishes actually from the dining room on the Katala. And then we have some information about other local shipwrecks as well, and we will continue building this. We have a bunch of information about shipwrecks, so expect more of that in the future. Yeah, more about the shipwrecks. And then these handrails were from the Katala as well.
Okay, so this exhibit is actually pretty near and dear to my heart. This was a collaborative effort between a couple of other retired foresters like myself. We wanted to illustrate to the people that come in here that logging is really not as environmentally damaging as a lot of people think. It certainly was back in the day when white Europeans first settled out here. It was pretty destructive. Pretty much people came out here thinking, gosh darn it, we can just take every tree we see and not worry about the environment, not worry about replanting. So we start over here on this wall from the early 1800s, and we showcase how, and this sort of starts it out by saying, you know, people really thought that they could come out here and make millions and millions of dollars, and some people certainly did, but there was really no regard to protecting the land, certainly not after the trees were harvested. So we talk a little bit about how that was done back in the day, and then we showcase, as you come further down on the wall here, that it was Gifford Pinchot together with people like John Muir and Teddy Roosevelt that really said, wait a minute, this is not sustainable, we can't do this forever. And so they started to implement federal legislation that encouraged people to do a better job. So then as we move into the 20th century and we come around this wall, you'll see that changes came about as a result of of research, forest science and technology research, and then of course federal and state legislation, and that created a pretty powerful conservation movement, which really started us looking at how can we do this better. So this wall showcases the changes through the 20th century and how the logging practices got better and better. As you move through the time here, you'll see that, you know, it used to be that we had huge expanses of clear cuts. That doesn't happen anymore based on federal and state law. Washington State, many people don't know this, but Washington State has the most restrictive forest practices from any state in the United States. So we do it pretty well here in Washington State. So you move through time, and it just showcases how in the 1990s, the Endangered Species Act really became apparent out here when the spotted owl was listed, and then many salmon species were listed as threatened or endangered under the Endangered Species Act. So that forced better and better forestry practices. And then we move over here to our 21st century. Also, a lot of people don't know that in Washington back in the early 2000s, 2006, that the Washington State passed what they call a habitat conservation plan, so that all of the logging has to be friendly with our critters out there as well. So we're pretty proud of this. This is our forest management exhibit. Okay, many people will recognize this as our former beachcombers room, and it still has that feel to it. We still have a lot of artifacts that were washed up on the beach, but what we've done here is we've relocated our shell room into this beautiful new case, and as you can see, there are wonderful specimens in all the drawers that we encourage people to open up and take a good look at. So we definitely encourage people to come in. One of our favorite volunteers, Diane Mergler, was responsible for having done this beautiful case.
Hi, I'm Michael Darling. I'm the president of the board of the Coastal Interpretive Center. We want to welcome you all back. We're anxious to see you. Great things have happened since you last visited, and if you've never visited, you need to come.
Yeah, we're really excited to be open again and show you all of everyone's hard work. We've had so many volunteers and helpers in this past year making an amazing new center for you. So we really hope you come by and visit soon.
Come and see us. That's all I have to say.
Hi, I worked hard on the children's room, and it's totally revamped. You guys will love it. I just had some friends in there visiting, and they said it rocked.
Come and see the new, improved Interpretive Center. You'll love it.
Adios.